What's going on, guys, and welcome back here to the Edison Club. As promised, I'm bringing you guys my 7th place finishing top 8 pure Lightsworn list from this past weekend at the Nintendo Switch tournament at Picante TCG in Greensboro, North Carolina. I'm going to go ahead and jump right into the list here with you guys. Starting things off, we have 1 Arcus, 1 Card Trooper, 2 copies of Celestia, 1 Aaron, 1 Garoth, 1 Gores, 2 copies of Honest, alongside 2 copies of Jane, 2 Judgment Dragon, 1 Lumina, 2 Lila, 1 Necro Gardna, 1 Plague Spreader, 3 Raikou, and 2 Wolf. Moving into the spell cards, we have 2 copies of Book of Moon. As we go through this deck profile, you'll see that I opted to play more defensive cards in this list than most Lightsworn decks typically play. So 2 Book of Moon, 1 Brain Control, 1 Charge of the Light Brigade, 1 Foolish Burial, 1 Giant Tornado. I also opted to not play Cold Wave, which is very different for a lot of Lightsworn lists, but I went off the mentality of playing more defensive cards might would mean that I need to be able to actually set cards on my turn. So I went with Trunade, which Trunade was just as good. In my opinion, it was fine for me. I never really missed the Cold Wave. If you checked out my deck profile from the side deck a few weeks ago, I was main decking Cold Wave and talked about how I didn't really like, sometimes I would want to use Cold Wave in tangent with something like Solar Recharge or Pot of Avarice, Foolish Burial, so forth and so forth and so forth. So this did work out pretty well, just playing the 1 Giant Tornado and the 1 Heavy Storm. Also, one change I made was I main decked 1 Monster Reincarnation and 1 Beckoning Light. All day, I just preferred Monster Reincarnation. I thought it was a superior card for me throughout most of the day. I really did like Monster Reincarnation a lot. It was a lot faster than the Beckoning Light. Still have the 1 Pot of Avarice and the 3 Solar Recharge. Going into traps in the main, we have 1 Beckoning, 1 Mirror Force, 2 Threatening Roar, and 1 Torrential Tribute. I still am a big fan of Threatening Roar, keeping your guys on board toward Tribute Summons for Celestia. Just being able to keep up card advantage has been really good, and also preventing those OTKs that can accumulate very quickly, especially in the mirror match. So that rounds off the 40-card main deck. Going into the side deck, we have 2 Consecrated Light. This is for the Blackwing matchup, which I, oddly enough, did not play against a single Blackwing deck yesterday, so these never came in. Next, we have Cyber Dragon, which can come in against pretty much anything that you want it to, that you need to kind of out-tempo your opponent. 1 Shiny Black Sea. This normally goes in for Blackwing decks as well. 1 Mystical Space Typhoon. We got to be able to deal with Light Imprisoning Mirror and other floodgates. An interesting card next here that a lot of people pointed out and asked me about yesterday was actually Shield Crush. Shield Crush says target a defense position monster your opponent controls on the field, destroy that target. So obviously I can't play Nobleman of Crossout because I play Raikou, so I'm not trying to get rid of all my Raikous. So Shield Crush kind of takes care of some of the issues that the deck has, running into Raikous, running into Hamsters, running into Recruiters. This also can help break the dupe lock as well. And overall, I was very happy with this card. Yeah, it was either this or Soul Taker for me, and Soul Taker having to get rid of a face-up monster was pretty much what drove me to the decision of playing Shield Crush over it. Don't know if it was fantastic. It did work. It worked great the first 2 times I saw this card, or the only 2 times I saw this card yesterday. But I'm pretty sure this blew up a Mass Dragon and a Snowman Eater yesterday, so it was definitely good. I'm gonna keep testing this. Okay, so the biggest blowout card in my side deck from yesterday was actually Fiend Comedian, which is a normal trap. If you're not familiar with it, this card says toss a coin and call it. If you call it right, all your opponent's cards in the graveyard are removed from play immediately. If you call it wrong, send a number of cards equal to the cards in your opponent's graveyard from your deck to the graveyard. So pretty much what Fiend Comedian does is you side this in either the Christiasworn match or the Lightsworn mirror match, because those matchups are very unforgiving, and whoever gets rolling first in those matchups is the projected winner, I would say at least 90% of the time. If you play against a Lightsworn deck or a Christiasworn deck, and they're opening up stuff like Charge the Light Brigade, they're opening up Solar Recharge, they're ending on like Lumina Garoth, and they've milled 14 to 15 cards before you've even drawn your first card, you are massively behind on tempo advantage, because in that matchup, that's what the graveyard is also tempo for them. So this card either way, no matter what happens, helps you regain that tempo. So I did play a mirror yesterday, resolved this, and banished my Christia Sworn opponent's entire graveyard. That was very, very strong. It easily won me the game just by flipping it. And in game 3, I flipped this and called it wrong and milled 14. Unfortunately, that was a case where I did need to be able to actually banish the graveyard because they are already up on copies of Judgment Dragon. But I did manage to hit 2 copies of Wolf off of this, off milling 14. But I think with how swingy the Lightsworn mirror match is, I think that it needs a card like this to be able to kind of make it more fair for you. So like I said, either it gets rid of their whole graveyard and you're back at least even on tempo, or it puts you ahead to where they're at and it mills you. So now your Judgment Dragons are live. You have your Necrogardna, Plague Spreader Zombie, Wolves, Beckoning Lights are turned on, Monster Reincarnation is turned on, stuff like that. So it worked out good. I'll definitely keep siding it. 2 Royal Decree for trap decks, and 2 Royal Oppression for stuff like zombies, which I didn't play against. We'll go over the extra deck really quickly here. We have 1 Fortress Dragon. Sometimes people will leave up a Cyber Dragon and a Card Trooper on the field. You can contact them away. Shoutouts to my friend Ron. 1 Catastor, 1 Armory Arm, 1 Black Rose, 1 Brio, 1 Colossal, 1 Dark End. You'll notice that there's actually no way to make this in the main deck. I only played Dark End because for pure Lightsworn, the extra deck is pretty flexible. So I played this just because of brain control. You can like take your opponent's Caius, take your opponent's Armed Wing, make this guy. Doesn't really ever come up, but you don't use the extra deck a ton, so it can be there. It's fine. 1 Flamvell Urquazus, 1 Goyo, 1 Android, 1 Mistworm, 1 Stardust Dragon, 1 Tempest Magician, 1 Thought Ruler, and 1 X-Saber Urbellum. That rounds off the top 8, 7th place finishing pure Lightsworn list by myself, Michael Boyd. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll be back with more Edison content and more deck profiles soon. All right, this is Mike from the Edison Club signing out until the next one. Take care, everyone.